everyone, and welcome to another speed build. Today I'm sharing a rental cabin that I made here in Granite Falls. As much as I loved building in Sulani, after 5 builds in that world, I just really want to take a break and build something else. And I'm sure some of you are probably glad to see a different kind of build on this channel as well. And I had something a little different in mind for this originally because I had a lot of fun making that off-the-grid home a few weeks ago. And I was thinking, how cool would it be to make an off-the-grid cabin here in Granite Falls that you could rent? But when I tried to see if you could even use the off-the-grid lot trade on a rental lot, it turns out you couldn't. And I was really disappointed by that because I thought it would have been so cool to be able to come to Granite Falls and to be able to rent a place that's off the grid where you can really detach from technology and electricity and plumbing, all of that, and just kind of be one with nature. But no, it turns out that it's not a thing you could do. But it would be so perfect though if you could do that, and not just for Granite Falls. Like, it would have been cool to do that in Selva Dorada as well. Like, you could make a house on one of those lots that's closer to the jungle, away from the town, off the grid, so you know, because it's a little further away from the town center. Like, that would be really neat as well. Or you can make an off the grid campsite, but unfortunately you can do none of those things. But even though that didn't pan out, I still wanted to build a cabin here because there's a few other things I wanted to try out. One was that I wanted to use that green corrugated metal roof that came with Island Living on a cabin, because one of the cabins that came with Outdoor Retreat does have that green metal roof from the base game on it. And I always thought that was kind of cool, but I didn't 100% like how that roof looked. So when I saw the green roofing from Island Living, I thought that would look so perfect on a log cabin because it just has this more worn look to it. It's also more detailed as well. And when I put it on this cabin, it just looked so cool with the log cabin wallpaper that came with Outdoor Retreat. Like, it all just went so well together. And the inspiration for the structure of this build came with a picture I found when I was Googling A-frame log cabin. I wasn't actually intending to build a typical A-frame home where the roof line extends from the ground all the way up above the second floor, but I just wanted to Google that anyway to see what I would get, and I found a house that had that A-frame roof structure just on the second floor. So like this house, the first floor is just kind of, you know, like a regular old first floor, but then the second level has that A-frame thing going on it, and I thought that was really neat. So I'll try to remember to put a link in the description to the picture I got inspiration from so you all can see what I was going with. But I thought that was really neat, so that was something that I wanted to try to, like, I really wanted to make something inspired by that. And it also had these bump outs coming off of the second level for, I'm assuming, bedrooms. So that's another thing I wanted to do here to get a little bit more space out of that upper level, and also to break up the roof line some, because otherwise there wouldn't have been a whole lot I could have done with the upper floor. Like, I might have been able to make like 1 bedroom up there, but I want to do a little more than that. So this house does have 2 bathrooms and 3 bedrooms, so you can actually bring quite a few Sims here with you. So I think this sleeps up to 6 Sims. So yeah, like almost a full 8 Sim household can stay here. Another thing I liked about the picture I found was that you had this, like, on the front of the house, you have this deck above the porch that has a roof pull out over it. So that's something else I wanted to replicate in this build. And then I also pulled the roof out in the back of the house so it covers most of the deck that's behind the house, because I'm still not over the fact that you can pull the eaves out further than you could before. Like, as I said before, I was just so happy when I saw that they you're now able to do that. And I just realized maybe I should explain a little bit better what I'm talking about. So when you're building and you click on the roof of the house, you'll see these arrows pop up on the side of the roof. And if you grab those and you pull them, they will extend the eaves out, you know, like as I did here. And if you just pull and grab, or, you know, you just I mix that up a little bit. If you grab and then pull, it'll pull out the eaves on both sides of the roof. But if you want to pull out the eaves on just one side, then you hold down shift as you pull, and then it'll do just that one side. And the same goes for the sides of the roof, so you can also pull down the eaves. You can pull the eaves downward more as well. So that's kind of the same thing, where if you just grab and pull, it'll pull both sides, but then if you hold down shift, it'll only bring out the one side. So yeah, just in case anyone like wasn't sure what on earth I was talking about, hopefully that makes a little bit more sense now. But at this point, I've got the color scheme of the house figured out. I mean, there's not much to it, and I'm just starting to figure out the landscaping. And I really liked how the landscaping came out on this house. Like, it's just got this very lush feel to it, and I just think it looks really pretty. And I also did my usual subtle terrain manipulation to it just to make it look like the lot is slightly sloping down towards the outside of the lot, just to make it look a little bit more interesting than a regular old flat lot. Another thing I did that I thought worked pretty well was using the stilted foundation under the decks. There's definitely been times in the past where I really didn't want to use the regular foundation under decks, but we didn't have any other options, so you kind of have to. You have to put a foundation under a deck, and there is that lattice foundation that's supposed to be like the deck foundation, but I don't always like how that looks. It doesn't always work for the style of build that I'm making, so I'm really glad that we now have the stilted foundation as an option, because there's definitely been times in the past where I've been making decks on a house and I've just been wishing I could have a stilted foundation under it, and I'm so glad that we now can. So this is something I'm definitely going to be doing in more builds in the future. But at this point, I put a nice path going from the front of the build around to the staircase on the side that leads up to the back deck, and I really wanted this cabin to look like it's been here for a while, so I stuck a lot of trees around it. It's been here long enough that there's been a lot of time for these trees to grow up, and also that worn roofing definitely shows that as well. So I certainly wanted this to have a pretty rustic feel to it, hence the name Rustic Retreat that I'm going for with it. And I also wanted to have this sort of magical fairy tale-esque feel, which maybe isn't the most accurate way to describe it, but I just wanted to feel like a place that was very peaceful and tranquil, definitely somewhere you would want to go to just take a vacation and relax. I mean, I definitely would want to come to a cabin like this just to take a vacation and relax. I've stayed in lakeside cabins a few times, and it's always really nice, and I kind of like it more than staying at the beach sometimes, because the beach is nice and all, but you just end up with sand everywhere and it's just hard to get out. And if you go to the lake, you usually don't have to deal with it because, it's just kind of dirt that goes right to the lake, so you just don't have to mess with any of that sand business. But right now I'm working on putting some activities into the back of the house here. So we of course have a horseshoe pit because we are in Granite Falls, so we gotta use that. And then there's also a nice campfire out here with some chairs around it. I'm sticking a water balloon bucket. I thought that'd be something really nice to throw in here. So I was initially putting down these log and rock seats around the fire, but then I wasn't quite feeling that, so I ended up changing them out for the regular camping chairs. And then I thought it might be kind of cool to have a random rock chair there, but then I wasn't really liking how that looked for some reason, so I just stuck the rock chair over near the tree and left it there. And I also did this thing that I did for the off-the-grid house that I made, where I went to the Buy Debug catalog and I picked out this kindling, or these twigs, and then stuck them next to the fire to look like kindling. And then I also stuck that water bucket there to look like the water bucket they have ready to put out the fire. I just thought that was kind of a nice realistic touch to make that part of the yard look a little bit more interesting. And over here we've got this grilling setup and a cooler next to it, so that'll be handy to have if you decide to throw any weenie rows. And I also thought it would look really nice to take those lanterns that look like they're kind of on branches and then stick them on along the path going from the front of the house to the side of the house, just to light it a little bit better. And then we're just sticking the lights in. And back here I stuck a couple of the lounge chairs that came with Island Living. I thought it would fit in so perfectly just to have these lounge chairs back here, just kind of like you could relax on them and then just look out towards the river, although I'm not sure if where they are is exactly pointed towards the river. I think it kind of curves around a little bit there. I mean, either way, I'm sure you'll still have a really nice view if you just look back that way, but it kind of like, I thought about turning the chairs to face towards the river, but it would have just been blocking the door and would have fit in kind of oddly, so I just face them like that. I mean, it doesn't really matter anyway. Like, your Sims I don't think they care what on earth they're staring at when they sit in those lounge chairs. Like, they could just be staring directly at a brick wall and they couldn't care any less. But still, that was something I was kind of trying to keep in mind a little bit. And then we've also got a dining table out here so they can just relax and eat. And then I also stuck one of the card tables here as well. So I was trying to stick some different activities around this lot, so if your Sims visit here, there's actually stuff they can do that's fun other than just sitting around and watching TV and sleeping. I just wanted to really make sure that was somewhere that was actually kind of fun to play in. And then we're just sticking some furniture out here on this front porch. So we got a chess table and then some benches, so there's probably an unnecessary amount of seating areas here, but that's fine. I liked how it looked. Like, we got another seating area on that deck there, and then another seating area off this deck here. Wasn't really sure what else to do with those decks. But the outside of the house is almost finished. I was thinking about putting a satellite dish on the roof, but I ended up not doing that. I don't know. Maybe I should have left that, but I don't know. I guess that could have worked. But I was thinking, like if you're here, you're probably more focused on the outdoor activities than watching TV. Like you might just have some rabbit ears on top of the TV, and that's kind of it. Like you're not going to have a satellite TV package. But working on the inside now, and this interior is very brown. Like we got similarly brown flooring and wallpaper, and then I used a lot of similar warm brown woods throughout it. So it might be a lot of the same kinds of wood, but I just really liked how it looked. Like I wanted this place to look very warm and inviting, and for that reason I used a lot of the same colors in it. And these curtains from Cats and Dogs also work so well for this kind of a build. Like I wanted to have kind of this older, dated, grandparent-ish feel to the inside of it. Like maybe an elderly couple owns this and they rent it out or something along those lines. I mean, either way, those curtains just really go well with the kind of rustic cabin aesthetic. And I also really like this water pitcher vase flower decoration that we got at the outdoor retreat. That's something I haven't used in a very long time, but I saw that and I was like, we just have to stick that somewhere in this house. And in this entry area here, there is a desk, so there obviously isn't a computer out. Like a rental house isn't gonna come with a computer generally, but I figured that would be a nice space where maybe your child's Sims can work on their homework if they want to do that while they're on a vacation, or your Sims can bring their laptop with them and they can just put it on the desk and use it there. And with this interior, I wasn't making it quite as cluttered as usual because it's not somewhere where anyone actually lives. Like I was trying to make it look fairly decorated, but since this is just a rental lot, I didn't want it to make it look super personalized. I just wanted to add enough decorations that it looked like someone was trying to make this place feel very warm and welcoming. And I really like how it turned out. But here I was thinking about using this shelf from Island Living in place of a bookcase, but I ended up not sticking with that, and a little later on I just replaced that with a regular bookshelf. I thought that just looked a little bit nicer, a little bit more warm than this, or not. I don't know. I just thought it looked better than this. I mean, it might have looked better if I had actually tried putting stuff on it, but I just kind of like the look of the bookshelf a little bit more. And those are dining chairs that I have on either side of the TV table. There weren't any living chairs that came with Outdoor Retreat that matched that couch, but I figured why not just use those dining chairs? I mean, they look living chair enough that I think it works. And then I used another swatch of those for the dining table, so it doesn't look like I used the exact same chairs, because I didn't want it to look like someone took part of a dining chair, part of a dining set, and then stuck to the chairs in the living room. I wanted them to look like they are actually supposed to be living chairs. And then over here, I was just hanging some wall-mounted fish on the wall just to kind of, I don't know, I just thought that was something that really fit this rustic cabin kind of a style. Like, I guess how people have deer heads and stuff in, like, country homes. So, I was kind of going with that idea. But here we're onto the kitchen, and I just stuck the table against the wall over here because when I went to go figure out where to place the dining table, I realized that I didn't really leave enough space in the center there for the table, because that was where I was thinking I could fit in the dining table. But then I went to go do that and I was like, wait a minute, I did not leave enough space. I was trying to figure out where to put it. I was thinking maybe we'll just have some island counters with some bar stools and that'll be it for the dining. But I think this just looks a whole lot better, and I really didn't need another wall of counters down that one side. I think what we have here is enough. And here I was just trying to rearrange the curtains a little bit, because where they snap to on the window, I feel like it covered a little bit too much of the window. It wasn't letting enough light in, but you can't really, like, if you have the window on the wall, you can't move the curtain up or down away from it. It kind of just snaps to a certain spot on the window and you can't move it anywhere other than that. So I just stuck the window in another room, put the curtains at the height I wanted to, and then stuck the window back in and put the counters back over it. So it kind of hides the top of the curtains and, makes it look fine. But yeah, I just want to do that so you can see a little bit more of the window under the curtain and didn't cover so much of it. But here we're just sticking some clutter around the kitchen. Once again, just trying to stick stuff that didn't feel like too personal. Like I didn't want to feel like, because like what I've done in kitchens sometimes is I've made it look like people left cups on the counter or they left some kind of mess there, and I really didn't want this to look like that at all. Although I know there are some dishes on the drying rack, but that's fine. You could think of it as maybe someone is staying there and they're just currently drying some dishes. But yeah, I was just focusing more on like decorative things like the flower and the knife set and the kitchen utensils, you know, kind of like amenities you would need if you were staying there. But since we are building a vacation house here, I was wondering if any of you had any exciting vacations planned for this summer. That's just something that's always fun to hear about. I don't personally have anything planned myself, like I don't have a week-long vacation planned, but I am going to be going away for a weekend towards the end of August for my bachelorette party, which I'm really excited for, because I'm just going to be going to the beach for a weekend to just hang out there with my bridesmaids. So that's going to be really fun, and I cannot wait for that to get here and just to have a weekend to relax, because wedding planning has just been really stressful. Because in case you don't know, I am getting married towards the end of September and we're a couple months away, so planning is ramping up. I'm starting to like, you know, like I'm looking at my calendar to plan things and I keep seeing like more and more days filling up and it's just getting kind of like stressful and kind of overwhelming. So I really can't wait to just have a weekend away from that. And other than that, we might do like a mini vacation after the wedding, like just go somewhere for a few days. We're going to be doing a honeymoon, but we're not going to be doing that till early 2020. It's just kind of a little bit easier to do it then and not be trying to plan this vacation like right when we're planning a wedding, because it's just kind of a lot. So we just want to be able to breathe a little bit and take our time more with planning that. But that's probably going to be like a 2-week vacation hopefully, so I'm really looking forward to that. And we actually don't know where we're going to be going for that. Like we were thinking maybe Aruba or Hawaii, maybe somewhere tropical. Like if any of you have any honeymoon suggestions, then let me know, because like I said, we were still trying to lock that down. So I'm wondering if any of you have any like really cool vacation places that you've been that I probably haven't thought of myself. So yeah, if you have any ideas, then let me know, because I would definitely love to know some other places we could potentially go. But at this point, I'm working on furnishing, I guess, the master bedroom. It's kind of like the biggest and nicest bedrooms of the ones that are in this house. And with this one, I just used the furniture that came with cats and dogs. Like I was trying to use different furniture in each of the bedrooms, so it didn't feel too repetitive between each of them. Like I was just using the same stuff over and over again. So there are one of the bedrooms upstairs that does have the furniture set from Outdoor Retreat in it, but the cats and dogs furniture definitely works really well for rustic cabin type builds like this. And I just really like how the yellow in this kind of brightens things up a little bit, because this build definitely is dark. So I just really liked having something to lighten that up a little bit. I did stick that cats and dogs curtain over the door, and I wasn't really sure if it was gonna work, because I know in the past if you stuck that curtain over doors, Sims wouldn't be able to get through it. And it was just that curtain, like all the other curtains would be fine. And I put that down, I was like, oh, I might have to delete this before I upload the lock. Sims might not be able to actually get through that door. But I play tested it, and it turns out that now Sims can actually walk through doors with that curtain over it. So they must have patched that in at some point. And I'm really glad they did, because, you know, sometimes it just looks really nice to have that curtain over doors, and the doors definitely looked a lot better with that curtain there. But right now I'm working on this landing area at the top of the stairs. Initially, it was just going to be a seating area with a bookshelf, and that's going to kind of be it. But then I was looking through and trying to find some other types of activities that I could maybe put up here, and then I saw this table, the Don't Wake the Llama table, and I thought that'd be something so perfect to put up there, and that's definitely better than just a sitting and reading area. But I still do have the couch and bookshelf up there, but I did replace it with that smaller bookshelf, so Sims could actually get through. And I did playtest all this because I was kind of worried about how cramped it was, but it's perfectly fine. Sims can get through, they can get out the door, they can get between the couch and the bookshelf. Everything works perfectly fine. I did scooch the Don't Wake the Llama table closer to the wall, because I don't think where it is currently Sims would have been able to get by, but where it ends up in the end, it is fine. It's fully functional. Sims can move through the space perfectly fine. But now we're on to the first of the bedrooms that's up here. So this is kind of like the nicer of the upstairs bedrooms. I mean, they're both pretty nice, but this is the bigger one. This is a bedroom that would work well for another couple, or maybe if there is a teen in your family, this room would be perfect for them. And this is the room that I did use the Outdoor Retreat furniture in. Although I did switch that bed out a little later on because I was just like, when I was trying to finish up the room, there was something about it that I just didn't quite like. And then when I swapped out that bed for the other one from Outdoor Retreat, it just came together so much better and I just really liked how that looked. So I do that shortly after I figure out the whole rug situation. And I also stuck stuff on the dressers in these rooms like towels and just some other decorations just to go with the whole making it not look too personalized thing. But I just thought the towels were a nice idea, you know, just kind of like they left towels there for them to use in the bathroom, or maybe you could even think of it as extra blankets rather than just towels, because I mean, if you think of them all as towels, there's like a crap ton of towels around this house. Like there's just towels in every bedroom, there's towels in the bathroom, there's just towels everywhere, probably a necessary amount of towels. So I kind of like the idea that they're just extra blankets or maybe extra sheets that are there, you know, in case something goes wrong. I don't know, it's probably overanalyzing things a little bit, but that's just the way I kind of like to think about things a little bit. But at this point, we're moving on to the bathroom that's up here. It's just kind of the same wood, same wallpaper and flooring that I used in the downstairs bathroom. And you might have seen where when I was originally furnishing the downstairs bathroom, I used it was just like a brown paint with tile on the bottom and top of it. But I didn't really like how they looked. Like I felt like it was a little bit too bright compared to the rest of the cabin. So I thought it'd be better to use the wood paneling just to kind of keep the theme a little bit more. So that's why I decided to make that swap. But we're almost done with this bathroom, just getting some more towels and a plant there on this counter, and that is about it. So after that, we move on to the last room, which is the third bedroom, and I furnished this one as a child's bedroom, so we just have a couple of beds in here. So if you have a family with 2 children, then this room will work perfectly for them, and just kind of got the regular old stuff that I put in the other rooms here. But we are almost at the end of the building part of the video, so as usual, if you want to download this, there will be a link to do so in the description. There'll be other stuff in there, how to find it in-game, and that's going to be all from me, so if you enjoy the rest of the video.